According to Mr Doudou Diene, former United Nations Special Rapporteur, racism and racial discrimination still permeates all dimensions of life and American society. In response, Life's Biggest Questions asks, why is there still racism in America? Welcome back to LBQ. I'm Charlotte Dobre. Don't forget to give us a thumbs up, subscribe, and let us know in the comments below what topics you would like to see next. Racism in America began in the colonial era with slavery, and then when slavery was abolished, it continued to be reinforced and accepted through segregation and Jim Crow laws. Rights like the right to vote, citizenship, land acquisition, and criminal procedure were still denied to people of color until the 1960s. By the mid-20th century, formal racial discrimination was banned and started to become socially unacceptable and morally wrong. But that doesn't mean it still doesn't exist to this day. Racism is not just a problem when it comes to African Americans. There's racism toward white men and women, who are often stereotyped as being rich and racist. Muslim men are labeled as terrorists. Latinos are labeled as drug lords. Most commonly though, racial prejudice is usually directed at minorities, who shouldn't even be called minorities. Minorities is an incorrect term assigned to other races who are not white. Minorities are actually the majority. They make up more than 50% of America. It is true that many people do not believe racism exists in America, simply because they do not encounter it themselves. But prejudice is so normal, it occurs in our day-to-day life, without us even realizing it. Maybe you keep your purse closed on a crowded subway when you're next to an African American man. Maybe you make fun of Asian drivers when they make you late to work. Maybe you get worried when you see a dude with a turban on your airplane. According to a Kaiser Family Foundation poll, 49% of Americans believe racism is still a big problem in today's society. The percentage of Americans that feel this way has gone up 24% since 2011. Many argue that racism in America appeared to get worse when Barack Obama was elected president in 2008. According to Mark Nazin, a professor of history and African American studies at Fordham University, simmering rage has been fueled by backlash after Obama's election, the economic struggles of lower and middle income whites, and the demographic shifts across the country. Racism in the United States remains alive and well, and perhaps some of the best examples of racism occur in fraternities at American colleges and universities. In February 2013, Sigma Alpha Epsilon fraternity was suspended by Washington University in St. Louis because the fraternity's pledges were singing racial slurs to African American students. A University of Maryland student resigned from Kappa Sigma fraternity after sending an email that contained racist and sexually suggestive language toward people of color. Members of a fraternity at the University of Oklahoma were caught on video participating in a racist chant about lynching African Americans. These are just a few examples that show that racism is an underlying problem in the US, even among educated young people. So why is there still racism in America? Well, unfortunately, it's not just one or two bad apples. It's the tree that produces those apples. Racism is rooted in prejudice and fear. People are taught racism by their culture and society. It is often assumed that parents had to teach children to be racist for them to end up racist. But that is not the case. According to Jennifer Richardson, a Yale University social psychologist, unless parents actively teach kids not to be racist, they will be. She went on to say, racism comes from the environment, the air all around us. When it comes down to it, people are allowed to think however they want. If people silently think racist thoughts to themselves, there's not much that can be done to punish those people. After all, they were brought up in a society that created those thoughts. The only thing that a government can do is take action when those who wish to express their racism express it in a vocal or violent manner that puts others in danger. But there are things that the government and our society can do to change culture. Everything we are exposed to gives us messages about what is good and bad. Advertisements, political leaders, pop culture. The methods that we use to communicate and share instances of racism have changed in recent years. Social media has allowed us to witness these incidents, which is also creating more empathy for racism in America, like the rally at Charlottesville where protesters chanted things like "White Lives Matter" and "You will not replace us." Yes, we are moving forward as a society. We are beginning to accept and even elevate those of different backgrounds who have become successful. Perhaps a diverse society can't exist without stereotypes and prejudice, but until we stop denying that racism is a problem in America, it's going to remain a problem. I'm Charlotte Dobre for Life's Biggest Questions. Don't forget to like this video, subscribe, and perhaps even become a patron of Life's Biggest Questions by donating to our Patreon. If you want to continue watching our channel, check out this video, What If America Had No Laws?